And we are live. NFL draft night is finally here, boys.
Yes, it
It's one of
is.
my favorite nights of the year. I'm sure it's all yours. We got a little NFL draft preview show for you guys tonight. We're going to go right up to NFL draft time and get the ball rolling. I'm going to start with number 6 on the board. I'm going to ask Carson how he's doing.
Hey,
6
what's
and
going on,
18.
guys?
6 and 18 in that first round.
Yeah, how we doing? Yeah, we got a huge night tonight, possibly the biggest draft in Lions franchise history. There's just a buzz in the city and in the air. The culture's changed. Brad Holmes, he's going to cook up a full course meal tonight. I'm ready to go, and let's freaking go Knicks, guys. What a win last night. Moving on, let's go.
Absolutely. I love it. I'll go to number 10 and number 30. Mr. Ryan Scoop Woodhams is with us tonight. How we doing, Ryan?
How are y'all doing? I'll agree with almost everything Carson just said. It's definitely an exciting time for Lions fans. They should be excited. They deserve every bit of this. But how can you go into a draft and not wonder, no matter who you root for, not wonder what the hell Howie Roseman's going to do? A couple years ago, he shocked everybody drafting Jalen Hurts, and now he looks like a genius for having done so. And last year, I was with my buddies watching the draft, and out of nowhere, he pulls off AJ Brown and Jordan Davis in the span of about 20 minutes. So it's going to be interesting tonight. We just saw, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a report that just came out from Jordan Schultz saying keep your eye on the Eagles. You always got to keep your eye on the Eagles in round one. I can't wait, and let's see what happens.
Absolutely. Mr. Rosen, my fellow Giant fan, number 25. How we doing?
We're doing great. Before I get to the draft, let's say, let's go Knicks. Great, great win. Series win against the Cavs. Amazing. And I think with the Miami Heat coming up next, I think we have a legitimate chance to go at least to the finals in the Eastern Conference. So great win. And it's the best is yet to come. The draft is going to be an exciting one. Obviously, this year with the Giants getting into the playoffs, we're drafting late for a change, number 25. But as Scoops just said about Howie Roseman, Joe Shane has shown an ability to either trade up or trade down. So it's possible that the Giants might make a move at some point in the first round also. And we're excited to see that happen.
Last but not least, with no picks in the first 2 rounds, Mr. Valenti. How are you doing?
Well, I will say this. I just listening to some Bronco radio, and there was, I don't know what the stat was, to be honest with you. I was coming out of the shower, but it's like a ridiculous stat that Sean Payton, when he was in New Orleans, how he moved up into like 80% of his drafts or something. I mean, there was one year, I forgot who he went to get, but he traded like 6 picks to go. So anything's possible with this. Again, I'm not somebody, Denver's a team, we're ready to win right now. I don't need 13 picks. If I like somebody in that second round, both threes, a 5, something next year, go get that player. But on the other note, getting into the draft, my draft probably will start tomorrow. But I said 2 weeks ago on this show, I told Ryan Scoop Woodhams to make sure last Friday night he watched the New York Knicks and what he would experience at Madison Square Garden. And I will double down now. Scoops, I don't know what you're doing on Sunday at 1, but now it's Knicks Heat in a playoff at the Garden. What you're going to see Sunday is nothing you ever expected. If you thought Friday was bad, that's going to be a circus compared to what you're going to see this week. Eastern Conference semifinals in our building. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I missed that because I was out, but I am looking forward to watching Knicks Heat, and I don't need to say who I'll be rooting for.
That's fine, but what I'll tell you, you're gonna see real basketball. You're not gonna see 142 to 140. You're gonna see defense, physicality, fights in each other's face.
I can't wait. That's real basketball to me. I can't wait,
baby. Defense wins championships, and let's go.
Well, Kerr, let's
The
do
only
this.
thing we'll be missing is Jeff Van Gundy on the sidelines
He
as
might come
opposed
right
to
he might come right from the booth.
right, exactly.
Let's do this, Kurt. Me and you did a little post game yesterday. All right, so let me give Carson a minute to 2 minutes and Paul a minute to 2 minutes, and then Ryan, if he wants to say something, he can. But I know Carson wanted to say a couple things, and then we'll get into the NFL draft because it is NFL draft night, boys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, obviously huge win for the Knicks last night. You know, a lot of you guys don't know that we have a group chat that we discuss here and there back and forth off the stream. And I know how Ryan's favorite player growing up was Jared Allen. Well, where the hell was he last night, Ryan? $100 million man, and he's got 4 points, 4 rebounds in an elimination game at home. Absolutely shameless. Let's go Knicks. I put in a $2 bet. 151 a couple months ago. Let's go Knicks, baby.
Think about this, Carson. He might have broke a record. He might have been the first person to fail twice in New York. He failed as a Brooklyn Net, and he failed this weekend in New York in the Garden. He failed twice in New York, that guy.
Crazy.
Mitchell Robinson just absolutely
he ate him up.
Ate him up.
Paul, I'll give you a couple words about the Knicks, and then we can get the ball rolling with the draft.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I hate to say it this way, but I'm probably the only one on this panel that's seen the Knicks win a championship in our life. I know I'm that old. I hate to say it, but the fact is that this team has, I think, there's a certain edge that they're playing with now, and I think they really believe in one another. I think it came together toward the end of the season. Randall was out, and they just raised their level of game. And you can see it even after they lost that first game. They said, you know what? It's like a flea off a dog's back. We'll shake it off and come back strong. And obviously they did. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but Kenny, remember who I said to you has to step up before the series? Who did I tell you?
Who was it?
RJ Barrett.
RJ.
Yeah. And sure enough, he did. And I think he made a tremendous difference in the last 3 games. And he's got to continue to do what he's done the last 3 games. The other thing I want to say is you got to give credit to Obi Toppin. That kid has come through clutch, and I'll have more to say in the next few weeks about what I think the Knicks should do going forward. But in the short term, amazing job. Coach Tibbs has really got them playing well. And listen, would it shock anyone now if they beat the Heat and get to the finals in the Eastern Conference at least?
Not at all. Let's do this, Kurt. Why don't you take over for a second? I got to go on mute for a second. Let's get into draft talk. Let's start with we'll do our teams, and then I'll have some players that we'll predict on, and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm not sure what he wanted me to do. So all right, so let's start.
We're going to start this. Carson's going to start off with his Lions. What he thinks would be the perfect draft for his Lions. What he would be happy with. Okay. And then we'll go to Ryan, and I'll be back in about 30 seconds. So I'll be back for Ryan, who's on.
Okay. Carson, real quick before you go there, Sis just put something in the comment. You agree or disagree with him? He's going Bama, Bryce, and Will Anderson 1-2. Is that how it's going to shape out tonight, Carson?
Yeah, it could very well easily play out like that, Sis. What's going on? Hope you're having a good night, buddy. But yeah, I mean, it's the odds are changing left and right. You know, I'm hoping that somehow Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, one of those 2 guys, falls to my Lions at 6. I would be absolutely ecstatic for either one of them. A lot of people said, I think yesterday, Tyree Wilson was the favorite to be picked by the Texans. Now he's been dropping because of a apparent foot injury that he's had in the past. But yeah, the 2 guys on my big board by far at 6, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia, and then Will Anderson, linebacker, defensive end hybrid. He can do it all. He is absolutely a freak of nature. Both those guys are. And a lot of people have been asking, are you worried about Jalen Carter's off-field issues? Yeah, he's a kid. He just got out of college. He's entering the NFL draft. You just saw his friend pass away. Yeah, he had a wishy-washy combine, but look at the tape, man. That's all that'll say. This guy was projected to be the number 1 pick when the Bears had him a couple months ago. They traded out of the pick. If you can get him at 6, I would be absolutely thrilled. 18 is going to be a really interesting spot for us. We can go a bunch of different directions, and I think it's going to depend on what we do at 6. People have been saying the favorite is Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. It would be okay. I think he's a solid player. I think a corner in the top 10 is a little bit too steep for my little too rich for my blood. So if we take him, great, but you better hope he's all pro, because if you look at the track record for cornerbacks in the top 10, it hasn't really panned out well unless your name's Sauce Gardner. So we'll see what Brad Holmes does. I'm really curious to see. I would love Kalijah Cansey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. I think he would fit great into this defense. Our biggest need by far is defensive line help. I think we did a great job this past offseason getting CJ Gardner-Johnson from Ryan's Eagles. We got Emmanuel Mosley from the 49ers, and Cam Sutton, who's arguably one of the best defensive backs in all of football from the Steelers. So we're beefing up the secondary. What would really, really, really shock me tonight is if we took a quarterback at 6. And honestly, if Will Anderson or Jalen Carter are off the board, I would be shocked. But I would be very, very worried, because basically if they take a quarterback at 6, they're basically saying Jared Goff is not the future. So it should be interesting. Let's go Lions. I'm telling you guys, this has been the most electric the city's ever been about this team. We have a legit GM, a legit top 5 offensive coordinator, and Ben Johnson, who came back this year, was one of the hottest candidates on the coaching market. Dan Campbell, I think he's the guy. He's built up a culture, and we're going for the first division title in over 30 years. We're the favorite right now, and book it. Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year, 11-1.
Book it,
I think
Dano.
the Lions are plus 140 to win their division too. So this night's the biggest night in Lions history.
Carson, couple comments. Sis was saying, you too, Carson. Good luck with the Lions. Bryce S is saying with 18 you could trade. You could even trade from 18 either up or down. Carson, I got one question for you real quick. Quarterbacks. Obviously, I don't think you would get Bryce Young. We all think he's going to go 1.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you rate if they do take a quarterback? Give me your top 3 for that selection if you had to. If they are going to go quarterbacks, what do you want?
Man, what's up, sis? What's up, Bryce? But I think CJ, what's going to be really interesting is if CJ Stroud, if the Texans pass on him, and if the Colts take Levis or Richardson, and Stroud keeps falling to 6, does Brad Holmes jump the gun and take a shot on a quarterback? And to be honest with you, I'd much rather take a shot on a guy like Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud. If one of those two guys are there, I'd much rather pick that over a cornerback. High risk, high reward upside. So if I had to rate the QBs, I'd go obviously Bryce Young number 1. I would probably, I'd put Stroud number 2, I would say, and then I'd put Richardson and then Levis. So that'd be kind of the order I would go in.
Let's move on to number 10 and number 30. Ryan, let's get your thoughts on what would be your perfect Eagles draft in this first round.
Yeah, no. So I have been back and forth on 2 guys that the Eagles could draft at 10, and now it sounds very likely, not very likely, I don't want to say that, but very possible at least, that one of those 2 could be an Eagle in just over an hour or 2. Those 2 guys are Jalen Carter and Bijan Robinson. I'm not an advocate of drafting a running back particularly high. I think we've seen guys like Zeke, guys like Saquon, who have been drafted high recently as running backs, and I don't want to say it never works out, but it's at best a 50-50 proposition. I can't really think of a last time a running back was drafted even close to that high that, people were unanimously saying, oh, that was a great pick 2 or 3 years later. That being said, they're in a unique situation right now where you don't often have a team that just came within a questionable call of the Super Bowl to have a top 10 pick in the draft. So they don't have to go for a need at that pick. They can address a need at 30 and just go pure value at 10. So if someone like a Bijan Robinson starts to fall, or a Jalen Carter, I read a report earlier today on the Philadelphia Inquirer from someone who I really trust that said They have done extensive research on Jalen Carter, and they are one of the few teams picking in that range, because there's a couple teams. I know the Raiders were reported to have taken him off their board. I believe it was either the Cardinals or the Lions, I believe, took him off their board. So for Philadelphia, it sounds like they're very comfortable with it. And I read a report that said that if he falls past the Lions at 6, they could try and jump up to 7 with Las Vegas or 8 with Atlanta, and try and go up and get him. I don't think a trade up would happen so much for Bijan Robinson. I can't really see a team. There was some rumors about Atlanta at number 8 drafting him. I would be surprised by that. I think that they're better off going defense personally. So I wasn't necessarily sure how I felt about either one of those guys, Carter or Robinson at number 10. But you know what? Screw it. Howie Roseman, go all in. This is your opportunity to really go, as they say, balls to the wall with this stuff. Philly wants another championship, and if this is your opportunity to make a decision, don't worry about how it's going to be in 3 or 4 years. We want to win in 2023. We want to win in 2024. Go get me Bijan Robinson, who's been compared to LaDainian Tomlinson. Go get me Jalen Carter, who's considered the best prospect in the draft. Let's freaking go. Philly at number 10. I can't wait. And then number 30.
All right, Scoops, real quick because I read today too, and I agree with you 100%, 1,000%. Like, think about it. You guys were probably one of the 2 best rushing offenses last year. And let's be realistic. Not with great running backs, right? With probably average backs. You put this beast in that backfield
behind that offensive line.
No
exactly.
brainer.
I mean, come on,
and
man.
and it'll take pressure off of Jalen Hurts, which will limit his injury risk.
I also read that they were interested in, I don't know about 10, but the receiver from Ohio State, what's his name?
Jackson.
Yeah, saying that, go get another, like you said, this is a free pick for them. Who cares? It's a free pick.
If I'm Philly, I'm going either Carter or Robinson at 10, or moving up from there, to potentially get one of those guys. If I'm staying at 10 and Carter and Robinson are both off the board, I'm going with my number 1 pick would be Christian Gonzalez, and if it's not him, I'm going Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, who would you pick?
I got breaking news.
Oh boy.
I got a little inside information on who the number 1 pick is in this draft, and it's not Bryce Young, guys. So here we go. I'm gonna. There's a surprise here. Yeah. Here we go.
Oh God, what's gonna happen here?
Who is it?
With the first pick of the draft, the beast himself.
That's with the first pick right out of Seton Hall.
The beast of Seton Hall.
That was good.
That pirate from Seton Hall.
I was going to save it for the draft party, but I'm feeling a little allergy attack. That's why I had to go on mute earlier. That's why I had to go on mute earlier. I felt some sneezing coming, but I'm fighting it. So, but we'll do a group chat, of course, and make some predictions in the group chat and have some fun that way. But I'm not gonna be able to make 4 to 5 hours with these allergies. So let's move on to
I just drank a venti. I'm gonna be up until 1 o'clock anyway.
There you go. I'm gonna pass it off to my fellow Giant fan, Mr. Rosen, and what he thinks we're gonna do at, not necessarily what we're gonna do at 25. What would you be happy with at 25?
Yeah. Well, it's an unusual draft position given the last 5-6 years or so we've been drafting in the top 10 or as high as number 2, as we all know. But this offseason was all about, and some of our panelists may disagree, it was all about re-signing Daniel Jones, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of his contract at this point, but given that the Giants have gone all in with Daniel Jones, we all know what the offense was like with the team last year. They made the playoffs, they beat the Vikings, but we all know that they've got to give them more support. Joe Shane went out, picked up for a 3rd-round pick, arguably one of the top 3-4 tight ends, Darren Waller, when he's healthy. So they've started to add a few more weapons, and they picked up other free agent receivers. But the talk has been about bringing in more offense to help Daniel Jones, and to a certain extent, I do agree. They've talked to all of the usual suspects in the first round, the Quentin Johnsons, the Jalen Hyatts, the Jordan Addisons, the Zay Flowers. To me, any of them would be a legitimate addition to the team at this point. I know in Zay Flowers' situation, he's similar to the kid they picked up in the second round last year, Wan'Dale Robinson. I think you bring in good players. I don't care. The way Brian Daboll and their offense and Mike Kafka and their offense run, they can interchange a lot of different players similarly with and interchange them one way or another. A kid like Jordan Addison could play both slot or outside also. I want to throw a name out on as a receiver that's sort of a sleeper pick, and he's coming from Ole Miss, who produced
Yes, love him, Paul. Love him.
yeah, DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. This kid, his name is Jonathan Mingo. At the combine, the kid is 6'2", 220. He ran a 4.46. He had almost an 11-foot vertical, almost a 11-foot broad jump, almost a 40-inch vertical. The kid's a beast, probably similar to DK Metcalf. Joe Schoen last year proved that, hey, he doesn't care who the legitimate, evaluators are. He's going to take who he feels are players that'll fit in with the New York Football Giants. So I'm just throwing that kid's name out. From what I've read, the kid will be a high pick, whether it's a first-round pick or a high second pick. That's someone the Giants perhaps might be interested in. On defense, clearly, we need another defensive back. I love Joey Porter Jr. I love the fact that he has the size. He's 6'2", almost 200 pounds. He has the pedigree, obviously. His father is one of the great Pittsburgh Steelers of all time. Grew up in football, knows the deal, has excellent work ethics. He would be fantastic. He has an 80-inch wingspan, 4'4", 6, 34-inch arms, plays press, plays man, plays zone. The kid can do it all. If there was going to be one pick as a defensive back that the Giants could add, I would have him. That would be my preference. A couple other defensive backs that are out there that are highly rated. Deonte Banks from Kenny's neck of the woods at the University of Maryland. And there's another kid that may not go until the second round, but his name is Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. Very thin, about 6 foot, 6'1", 165 pounds, ringing wet. But the kid has 14 career interceptions, including 6 pick sixes. So the kid has an eye for the ball. If he's around at the end of the first round, and you never know what's going to happen at the end of the first round with the way picks go. But those are some of the players that I can see perhaps the Giants, if they stay at 25. Shane has mentioned he might move up, might move back. If some of the players that the Giants feel are at the top of their board aren't there, I probably would not have a problem if they moved back and picked up another couple of picks. If they moved back into the beginning of the second round, that wouldn't really bother me at all. So I think they need to improve the defense, obviously, but the offseason indicated that it's all about Daniel Jones and building the team up to surround him. So I can see them going some type of offensive player, wide receiver, maybe even a tight end, who knows, but something like that.
Thanks, Paul. I'm going to agree with you, Paul. I'm going to say unless you can get Joey Porter or Christian Gonzalez, I want the wide receiver. And I'm a defensive guy, but we need offense on this team. And the more offense we have, the better we can be in this weak NFC. I mean, there's literally right now 2 legitimate contenders for the Super Bowl, and then everybody on the outside sitting between 5 and 10 trying to catch those 49ers and Eagles. That's realistic. So get me a wide receiver, whether it's Quentin Johnston, my number one guy, or Zay Flowers, another small speedster. I'll take either one of them two. Jackson Smith and Jiba is going to be off the board unless you make a big trade up like Carson's Lions did last year for Jameson Williams. He's going to be off the board. Those are the two I like. A sleeper receiver I like, played in the SEC, had a down year, Kayshon Boutte, or Boutte, however you pronounce his name, Boutte, over there in LSU. I think he's going to be a sneaky pick that has a nice little ceiling ahead of him. But if you're going to tell me I can get Joey Porter or Christian Gonzalez, and they do pick one of those two, then I'm going to see possibly a trade in the second round for a veteran wide receiver, maybe down Mr. Valenti's way, and he gets into the second round. And we get either Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. DeAndre Hopkins is also another name that people are throwing out there. You know, these are names that you know, the Giants may be making those phone calls. So we'll see what happens. But I agree with you, Paul, mostly what you said, and I don't have anything else really to add for the first round. Well, first round, wide receiver would be my top choice. Corner would be my second. Kurt, what are your thoughts on the draft? What are you looking forward to? You looking forward to seeing who the Seahawks take at number 5?
You know
That
what?
would have been your pick.
I'm going to be honest. Absolutely not. You could take that pick, especially if it's like Anthony Richardson, because I'll talk 4 hours with him. Take that 5th pick. I'm still taking Russell Wilson off the deal. Remember last year, people kept saying, oh my God, we traded Shelby Harris. He's not even signed in the NFL. They cut him already. Just stop with that. You take anytime you can go get. That's right. I don't know where Beelan is tonight, but John Beelan, if you're listening, man, Joe Douglas, home run. Anytime you can go get a Super Bowl quarterback, you go get him. You don't worry about draft picks next year's number 1. Who cares? Who cares who Seattle drafts this year? They should take a quarterback because the Geno Smith experience is going to end probably by week 8 or week 9 this year. So go get a quarterback. I'll take Russ. What I want, Kenny, and you know what? Sean Payton and George Payton this offseason, they did a phenomenal job. We don't have a full need on our team, right? Our offensive line was atrocious. We fixed it. We spent all that money in free agency. We got our linebackers back. We got a legit running back to make sure to cover until Javante's back. But that's what I want, Kenny. I want another running back. The only thing we do not have on this team is a home run pass catching running back. So in that 3rd round, or we move up, you know, Tulane, the kid from Tulane, the kid from A&M, Tanks Bigsby from Auburn, Tucker from Syracuse. I want to get a home run back to complement P. Ryan and Javante, and away we go. So just best player available, tight end. Listen, another offensive weapon, but there's no need. So it's not like we have to draft this guy. Just go get the best player and let's go.
There's our good friend Keith Brugman, Denver Bronco Roundup. Check them out on Tuesday nights, everybody. Saying, don't touch my Judy. They are over at Rocky Mountain Sports. If anybody is interested, they are going to do a draft watch party. If anybody wants to hang out with them and comment, it'll be a fun time. You know, they'll gladly, maybe they'll even, you know, I'm sure they'll even invite you guys on if you want to chat with them. It's up to you guys. But they will be around, and check them out. I think that's going to do that for this portion. So I got something else for you guys. We've got about, let's say, 25 minutes so we can get off by 8 o'clock, Kurt.
Okay.
So we can get ready for the draft. Keith's also saying Philip Lindsay wants to come back, Kurt. We're good, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I like Philip Lindsay, but I don't think he's a home run back. We need a young home run back who could catch. Like I'm not saying Alvin Kamara, but we need like that type of back is what we got, is what we need.
All right. So next 10 or so minutes, I'm going to give you guys a player, and you're going to predict where he's going to go in this first round. We'll see how many we get right. We'll see how many we get wrong. The first one, I'm just going to throw it out there. Bryce Young. Has anybody got him going anywhere but Carolina?
No.
Didn't think so. So now let's get into. I'll start this one the way I see it on my screen, and then we'll change the order each pick. Kurt, C.J. Stroud, where you think he's gonna go?
CJ Stroud. I'm going to say a trade up Tennessee Titans.
Mm.
Okay,
Wow.
Carson.
I think I'm not buying the it's smoke screen season. All these analysts are saying they're going to pass on a quarterback. I just don't believe Davis Mills is the future for Houston. He might be their backup, but I think in when you have pick 2, you have to go quarterback. I think he goes there. CJ Stroud at 2.
Texans for Carson. Ryan,
Is this where do I think he should go, or where do I think he will go?
where do you think he will go?
So I think the Texans will pass on a QB. I think the Cardinals won't trade out. He'll fall to 4 and go to the Colts.
Paul.
Yeah, I heard 2 reports, one each way going, with the Texans either taking him or not. But I agree with Ryan. I think they're going to pass, take Will Anderson at 2, and Stroud's going to go to the Colts.
Paul's going Colts. I'm going to go. This is going to surprise a lot of people. It's not going to surprise me. I don't know if it's going to surprise Kurt. He's going to drop. And he's going to drop to number 7. And the Raiders are going to sit there at 7 and get their quarterback.
I hope so.
I know you do.
I
know
hope
you do.
so.
Yeah.
I know you do. And this would be the worst spot for CJ Stroud, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But
Boy.
that's going to be my prediction because the Raiders seem to mess these things up. So I'm going to go bold, and I'm going to say Raiders for CJ Stroud. We'll start this next one with Carson. I'm going to go Will Levis for Carson to start off.
Wow. Yeah, I just can't picture Will Levis anywhere else besides Indianapolis. So I think the Colts take him at 4.
Keith's going bold. Anthony Richardson goes number 1, Kurt.
Oh my God. He might then. Who's the number 1 bust of all time? What's his name?
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus
It
Russell.
might be Anthony Richardson because
Wow.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, remember at the beginning when we did our college football preview, and I kept talking about Anthony Richardson when I was still down in Florida, how good he was, and how they're gonna. So.
Yep, I do remember that. Carson's got Colts for Will Levis. Let's go to Ryan for Will Levis.
I wouldn't draft Will Levis in the first round, but I would.
Wait, you would draft Anthony Richardson over Will Levis?
100 out of 100 times.
Why?
Do we want to do that right now?
You can't read a defense. You watched him in Florida. All he does is run. He's like Lamar 2.0.
You can't read a defense.
No, he can't.
It's almost as if it's almost as if
Kentucky game. Go watch Kentucky, Florida when you threw 3 pick sixes against Kentucky.
Okay, if you ask me a question, do I get a chance to answer it? There's,
Sure.
Where have we seen
like
this
husband
before?
and wife. Husband and wife over here.
couple years ago, it reminds me of situations like the Bills had a couple years ago. I mean, Josh Allen had a terrible record in Wyoming, and he got the coaching staff that he needs. He got to the place that
But
he
he's
needs.
a pocket passer.
Right.
Josh Allen. Anthony Richardson can't do anything from the pocket. Nothing.
They said that about Jalen Hurts too. If you get
No,
the right,
Jalen Hurts was a better thrower than Anthony Rich. Come on.
I would take Anthony Richardson over Will. But going back to the actual question that was asked, Will Levis, I think will go to the Texans, but I think he'll go to the Texans with their 2nd pick.
Okay.
Fair enough. Kurt.
Luby saying, Ryan, you'll be a great lawyer. You know what? I agree. I just agree with Carson 1,000%. They had Peyton Manning, they had Andrew Luck. This is just the style of quarterback that the Colts always want. The pocket passer, the big arm. So they're going to go with the Colts.
Paul.
I would take Herndon Hooker over either Will Levis or
Me
Anthony
too.
Richardson.
Me too.
Wow.
I would take
Yeah.
him over Levis for sure.
But I'm going to predict Levis goes to the Titans at
Paul,
number.
you stole.
Oh,
Yep. No, say you stole my thunder. That's who I'm going. going with the Titans. But unlike you guys, Ryan, unlike you, Paul, I'm going bold and saying this guy's going to be the best quarterback out of this draft. I watched
Yeah, I
him
saw
on
that.
ESPN not too long ago tonight with Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning was praising him. He was on his knees doing a crow hop, throwing 70 yards. Okay, I just think he looks like he's a very intelligent. I'm watching him during the red carpet here doing the interviews. Looks very intelligent to me. I think he's going to be a good quarterback if he fits the right system. Colts are a good one. Titans are another good one in my opinion. So as long as he gets in that right system, like you said, Kurt, pocket passer type of system, I think this kid could be good.
Yep.
So I'll go Titans there.
Nice.
I'll give Ryan the next one to start. We'll give him Anthony Richardson since we were just talking about Anthony Richardson.
Mhm.
Anthony Richardson, again, this is where I think he will go, not where I would put him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So excuse me. Yeah, I have a hard time with this one, but I'm going to go a little out of the box here. I'm going to say he gets traded up for the Minnesota Vikings, draft Anthony Richardson.
I like it. Bold. I like that. Paul.
We were talking about the Raiders just a short while ago. I think the Raiders, they're going to trade, they're going to draft Anthony Richardson, unfortunately for his sake. But I think they really need a quarterback, and I think they're going to rely on him, if not this year, at least by next year.
If I can jump in real quick, I had 2 mock drafts, one of what I would do and one of I think of what will happen. The one of what I would do is I had the Raiders trading up to 3 with Arizona to draft Richardson.
Nice. That's a good one. Kurt.
I don't think the Raiders would, because you got to remember Josh McDaniels is there, right? And look at the history of Josh McDaniels. He had Matt
It
Castle,
sucks.
Tom Brady,
Hmm.
Garoppolo, Brent. He's taken accurate quarterbacks who are smart, who can read a defense. Anthony
But
Richardson.
Bryce Young isn't falling past number 1.
No. But what I'm saying is Anthony Richardson is not Josh McDaniels. He's not going to run what they ran in New England with Brady and Garoppolo. He's not. Personally, I listen. I mean, I read something today. It said going to get Houston. I mean, not Houston, Tennessee. They did it with Malik Willis last year. How'd that work out? That was get him out of there. So I don't know. I mean, listen, to me, he's not a first round. I would never go near Anthony Richardson. I just think he's going to be a complete bust in the NFL as a quarterback. He's not going to be able to do it. But I could see a desperate team, like Scoop said, maybe Minnesota. I don't know. Seattle maybe with their second pick. I mean, they take him with the number 5 pick. They're just absolutely crazy. But I don't know. Maybe Seattle with their second pick in 20. But I don't know. To me, he's not a first round pick.
Carson.
Yeah, I'm with Kurt. I think a team's going to get bold, and then they're going to move up with the Cardinals, which is what I'm hoping happens, because if a team trades all the way up, like a team like the Titans, which I think is going to be the case, they're going to start this over. They struck out last year with Malik Willis. He wasn't a first-round pick. He was kind of later in the rounds, but I think Anthony Richardson, he's either going to be the biggest boom or the biggest bust in this entire draft. I could see him being a superstar in this league, and I can see him being, like Paul said, the next Jamarcus Russell. So he has the highest ceiling out of any quarterback, all the intangibles, the height, the size, the athleticism. It's just a matter of, can you get a good coaching staff around him? And I think Tannehill's walking out the door soon, and I think Titans go up to pick 3 and take him. And I, as a Lions fan, I hope that happens, because then a defensive player keeps falling. So we'll see.
Yeah.
This is that pick, in my opinion. Last year, Kurt, right? Malik Willis was projected to go in the first round by a lot of experts, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He slipped to the 3rd round, right?
Yeah.
Not saying in any means he's going to drop to the 3rd round, but I could see if he doesn't go, if you get up to the Raiders at 7, if there's no trades, and the Raiders don't pick him at 7, I could see him slip into a team all the way down at number 19. Taking a shot, stays in Florida, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Bucks.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I'll take a shot there that he does slip but I can also see him going as high as, like you guys all said, 3 or 4, like with any of these teams. But if he
Again,
slips,
Kenny,
I'm
though,
going Bucks.
you have to really dedicate and really like say we are going to switch our offense for this guy, because that's why Josh McDaniels is just, it will never happen. Like
If you need a quarterback that badly, maybe you should switch your offense.
yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying you're switching your offense to a high school offense is what he's running. He's running a high school offense. I mean, that's what the Baltimore Ravens run. They run a high school offense. That's what it is. It's to
It-
the guy and run the ball.
I
That's what it is.
honestly thought Baltimore would be a perfect fit for him before they just gave
Yeah,
the bad
they
and a
signed.
half to Lamar.
It would be interesting if the Bucks did draft him, because of course they signed Baker, but behind Baker would be, if they did draft him, the last 2 starting quarterbacks at University of Florida, Anthony
You know-
Richardson and Kyle Trask.
You know what, Paul? We just saw this right with the Saints, right? Because Taysom Hill. Now, I love Taysom Hill. I would take Taysom Hill on the Broncos, not
Yeah.
as my starting quarterback.
Yeah,
You would
no.
play gadget for, but
Right.
you're not winning a Super Bowl with Taysom Hill.
No.
Like, you know, when it's 3rd and 9, what are you going to do? Run power, QB power? I mean, it doesn't work. It's the same thing with like, you know, Lamar 3rd and 10, and he's running the ball. It's Anthony Richardson's even worse. I don't know. You're just never going to win with running quarterbacks. You got to be a pocket quarterback first. If you're athletic, you know, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, like Jalen Hurts can throw it 40 times from the pocket. Anthony Richardson can't. Lamar Jackson can't.
When he first came into the league, he wasn't throwing the ball that many times. He had to develop as that, and he was able to.
I don't. But go watch when he was in Oklahoma and Alabama. He
Go
threw
watch
from
the
pocket.
I am an Eagles
No,
and
guys, I want to get into
Watch
this
the-
next pick. I'm gonna
watch the
cut
Eagles.
You guys both off right now. We're gonna get into the next pick. We got 5 minutes left. You want to be
All
off
right.
by 8 o'clock? We got to get through the rest of these picks. Hands down, put down. Let's go. Aiden Hooker. Kurt, where's he going? Hendon
This is
Hooker.
tough, man. This is tough because honestly, I think I don't know if it was whoever said that they would take him as a second quarterback. I agree with him. I think it was Paul, and I agree with him. I think he is the second best quarterback. I don't like CJ. I don't like any of these guys. I'm gonna say, Seattle's gonna take a quarterback. So I think if Seattle doesn't get Richard in the second pick, not the first
Oh,
pick,
okay. Damn.
in that
Oh, okay.
20 spot, I think he's going to go first round. I really do. So I'm going to say Seattle in the Seattle, and Saints as a sleeper, but I'm going to say Seattle.
I was joking with you guys anyway, but just so you know, we got only about 5 minutes left before we do final thoughts, so we can get off by 7:55. So that's why I cut you guys off. But I was joking around. Carson Hooker, where is he going?
Yeah, I gave it to you straight earlier, Kenny. I think he goes to the Vikings. A lot of question marks about Kirk Cousins. I love him, Spartan boy. It's my guy, but I think again, crunch time, playoff time, he has not shown up. I think his contract is up for renewal soon in a couple years. I think he goes to the Vikings. Hendon Hooker. I think he'll sit behind Kirk Cousins for a year or two, develop, get his ACL under control, and we'll see him starting for the Vikings at age, I think, 27, 28. One of the oldest quarterbacks if he were to be drafted. So I think he goes to the Vikings.
Ryan.
I think this is the only quarterback needy team we haven't talked about yet tonight, but I think dropping back from 16, I think is where they pick, and dropping back to the end of the first round, Hendon Hooker goes to the Washington Commanders.
Nice, interesting there. They're high on Sam Howell, which I don't understand why.
I don't
Yeah.
understand either, and
I'm happy about that. They can be as high on him as they want to be, right?
Yeah, hey, amen to
Might
that.
be the only time we all agree, Eagles and Giant fans.
Yeah.
Paul.
I can see. I'm going to agree with Kurt. I can see him going to, say, Seattle with the 20th pick. I think he will make the first round late in the draft. It was funny because one of the rumors went around that the Giants should take Hendon Hooker with the 25th pick, which I laughed. Which would be the shock of the year if they ever did that. But I can see him being selected by a team like the Seahawks and let him sit for a year with Geno there.
You got to remember too, Kenny. I think next year's quarterback class is stacked. You
Yep.
know, so
Yeah.
why would you go and say I'm going to
Caleb
waste
Williams.
a pick on Anthony,
Drake May.
Richardson, and Levins? Like, I mean, go get that guy next year. Like, what's the point of wasting a top 10 pick on a quarterback and say, oh, next year, I mean, I would take Drake May anyway. Like, just go get a good player. Like a top 10 player is a good player.
Start building
Can
up
I
your
just-
offensive round and give him a chance to succeed when you get your guy.
Can I just say this? I worked with a guy in Florida who's a big Colts fan, and we were just texting each other, and he said almost the exact same thing. He said, I don't want Will Levis. I don't want Anthony Richardson. I don't even want CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
Take a-
exactly.
Take a defensive player at number
Yep.
1, at the 4th pick, and let them tank and go for Caleb Williams next year.
Yep. And that's why I think Carson, I don't think you have to worry. I really don't. You guys are in win now mode, first time in forever. Like, don't waste a pick on.
I'd be shocked if you took a QB.
Go
at 6.
get a player, man. That's going to help you guys win right now. I mean,
you got a quarterback that's got you to the Super Bowl already. Not you, but he's
Exactly,
gotten
yeah.
his team to the Super Bowl already.
Yeah, Carson.
I
Let's
agree.
be honest.
Yeah.
Who are you afraid? I'm going to put Philly and San Fran maybe 1 and 2, but other than that, you might be the 3rd best team in that conference.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we have the 4th best odds to win the NFC right now. I think we're behind the Eagles,
Yeah.
the 49ers, and the Cowboys. So we're right there. But yeah, I think it's win now mode for sure.
I
You
agree.
guys should be ahead of Dallas.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
that too.
I agree.
I agree with that too. Who's got who didn't pick for Hooker yet? Ryan, did you pick?
I had Hooker going to the Commanders.
That's right. Paul, you picked, right? Seahawks. It's just me.
Yes.
I'm going to go Seahawks as well. I mean, I'm looking at this board. Maybe, I just said the Buccaneers. Maybe they're in line for a quarterback. It could be Hooker. I went bold with Richardson, but maybe Hooker. After that, I mean, somebody move into the first round. I don't know. There's not many teams that are quarterback needy once you get into the 20s here. All jokes
I mean,
aside.
the only other team that I could possibly see is maybe the Falcons trading back into the first round and taking him so they'd have that 5th-year option.
Yeah. Yep.
But why would Seattle do it? They got an all-pro quarterback that they just paid all that money for. Right? Why would you take a quarterback?
But you have a guy.
Give my language. The amount of shit that you talk for a 4th and 13 team.
Hey, but it's true. Why would you think about it? Why would you take a quarterback? Are the Chiefs taking a quarterback? Are the Eagles taking a quarterback? Are the Bengals taking a quarterback? Or the Baltimore Ravens taking? No, because you know why? He's not a franchise quarterback. They're not stupid.
I
Seattle.
got to interrupt. Sis didn't see the first pick earlier. He wanted to know if Paul didn't pick him, but I got breaking news for Sis. The pick is in. We have breaking news, Sis.
There he is.
There's the
There
pick,
he
the
is.
first pick of the NFL draft, Mr. Edward Siciliano, taken by the Carolina Panthers. Let's go.
The Jack Lambert of the 2023 season.
Nice.
Out of Seton Hall University. Let's go. All right, boys, let's move. Speaking of a defensive stud in Mr. Siciliano, let's get to
By the
some
way,
of
there
the
was
defensive
breaking
guys.
Kenny. There is breaking news, and
There
Scoops
is.
might like this. The Eagles and Cardinals settled a tampering investigation today involving the hiring of former Philadelphia DC Jonathan Gannon as Arizona's head coach. Terms: Eagles traded pick 94 in this draft and a 2024 5th-round pick to the Cardinals for pick 66.
Whoa.
So,
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
you're up to 66 for that.
All right, let's move to the defensive guys. Then we'll get some final thoughts in because they are doing the national anthem already for the draft. Jalen Carter, Carson. This was an interesting one for you over there in Detroit land.
I think if I'm going to be ecstatic if he is there at 6 and the Lions take him. I just don't see any way, shape, or form he falls out of the top 5. I think a team, if the Cardinals stay put, they could go Jalen Carter. If the Texans, they might shock people and take Carter over Anderson. I think you could go. It's coin flip 50-50 for either of those guys, but I think Seattle is going to take Carter right before my Lions, and it's going to be an absolute shot in the heart, but we'll see what happens. The Lions really need whatever the Cardinals do dictates who the Lions get, because if the Cardinals trade back with a team like Tennessee and they trade behind the Lions, and make things really interesting. So I think the Cardinals and what they do, same with the Texans. I'm hoping the Cardinals trade out and the Texans take Stroud. That would be the ideal situation, because then the Colts are taking Levis or Richardson.
Right.
And Seattle, and then us, we get one of the two, either Will or Jalen Carter. So I don't see how he goes out of top 5, though. I think he's top 5, might be the best player in the draft.
And Carson, just so you know, it's okay. You can blame Kurt if the Seahawks do take Jalen Carter, because that would have been the Broncos. Broncos
That's right, yeah.
traded that pick away, so it's the really the Broncos pick there. So if they take Carter, we blame Kurt.
There you go.
It's the easy person to blame. Go ahead, Kurt. I'll go to you next. I'll jump around on the order on this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I said it 100,000 times. Carson's absolutely right. Let these foolish teams go up and take these quarterbacks. The two best players in the draft besides Bryce Young are Carter and Will Anderson. So, hopefully, I'm going to say, for Carson's sake, I'm going to say Detroit.
Nice.
But I let if any GM takes like any of these guys over Carler, I mean, they're just bad GMs. I mean, this guy's going to be a Pro Bowl player every year he's in the NFL. And you're going to get these quarterbacks who aren't ready, or probably not going to be, they're going to be a starter for 1 year and then they'll be gone. And you're going to let this all-pro defensive tackle where games are won, lost. So I'll say he slips to Detroit.
I'll go next because I agree with Kurt. I think Carson's going to be very happy, and he's going to have Jalen Carter in the middle there with Hutchinson for the next 10 years.
Imagine that combo, Carson.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'll tell you what's going to happen. I think Arizona, when Murray comes back, they got to protect him, right, guys? Paris Johnson's one heck of an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Paris Johnson's one heck of a tackle, and Skoronski also. So I think you may see an offensive lineman go early and surprise. That may be the first surprise of the draft, is an offensive lineman at 3. Ryan, we'll go to you next, and we'll get Paul last on Jalen Carter.
Yeah, no, it feels like low-hanging fruit to me. I can't see Pete Carroll letting Jalen Carter get past him at number 5, and I don't see an opportunity for. I don't really see the Colts moving out of number 4 to, the only way I think he doesn't fall to number 5 is, or the only way I think he doesn't get past number 5 if they don't take him is if he's already gone by a team moving out at number 3. I think that if you want to get Jalen Carter, I think number 3 is the spot you have to move, going to have to move to. And I just would be very surprised if that didn't happen. And then Pete Carroll passed on him at number 5.
I'll do. Anybody want to throw a bold prediction out there for Will Anderson? Besides the
2.
Texans, anybody want to go against the Texans taking Will Anderson?
No, I'm sticking with him at 2.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I
Me
hope he's
too.
at 6.
There's the bold. We'll go bold. We'll give you a
If
bold
he's at
card.
6, about 4 GMs in the NFL should be
Yeah.
fired.
If he gets past the 3rd pick, you're going to have 28 other teams trying to trade up for him.
Yeah.
All right, and then my last one, and then I got one quick one for you guys. We'll do Bijan Robinson. Anybody but the Eagles? I think the Falcons may be a shot right before
Falcons.
the Eagles.
Yeah.
But if not, I think it's Eagles, because that's all you really need, Ryan. You don't need much else. And
If you put as much as part of me is like cringing at the thought of taking a running back at number 10, when you tell me that multiple people are comparing this guy to someone like either Beast Mode or LaDainian Tomlinson, that I will run through this apartment complex screaming tonight if that happens.
You know what?
Scooch,
real quick, in all seriousness, though, because you said you would cringe if the running back, but let's be honest. Zeke,
I said part of me would, but
right. But Zeke, Zeke, all these problems were paying him that second contract, but Barkley been a stud. Zeke was a stud. McCaffrey was a stud, and Derrick Henry was.
That's what I'm saying. Because the only reason I would do that if I were Philly is because they literally were a play away from winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm
And-
saying, yeah, it's
So-
the second contract that's the
And they're
problem.
in a position
You're-
where they can take a risk. They're
Yeah.
not
Right.
like a Texans
Yeah.
Your
where,
time is now. The
Right.
next
Right.
year
I
or
don't-
two.
Right. I don't care
three.
if he's I don't care if he's out of the league in 4 years. I care about getting that
Exactly.
ring now.
Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's going to be an Eagle, Ryan. Bet
I
on it.
will.
Yep.
I
To
apologize.
the chagrin
now.
of us Giant fans.
I apologize now for being for the first time more obnoxious than Kurt in the group chat tonight. If that happens,
That's fine. Hey, let's go.
Tonight, it's acceptable to have dozens of chat messages, but other than I'm joking, of course. But let's get some final thoughts in, guys, because the draft is ready to start. I know we're all excited to watch it. So, Kurt, you always do the order. Why don't you do the order again for us?
All right, I'll actually go first. What the one thing we're talking about, the one thing you didn't mention, Kenny, what makes I think NFL like drafts, NBA and NFL are these trades, right? You talked about Denver, Judy Sutton, DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like there's always a surprise too. Like somebody's gonna come out and go, oh my God, like Derrick Henry got traded, like something like that could throw this whole draft, off the board, right? Because just like you're saying, people want a receiver, people want a running back, right? Like not, besides Bijan and maybe the kid Gibbs from Alabama, you're not going to take any of those other guys in the first round. So maybe Derrick Henry does go somewhere, So it's going to be interesting, but I'm excited to watch it. I love it the next couple of days. And listen, like it's important, man. I hope all our teams do well. Let's go to Scoops.
well, first of all, I just saw a tweet that said "Imagine tampering for Jonathan Gannon," which I find hilarious. And honestly, Kurt, when you said that, I thought you were playing a prank on me.
No, I was not.
But no, I couldn't be more excited for tonight. I mean, like I said, under any other circumstances, I wouldn't be in favor of drafting a guy like Jalen Carter or Bijan Robinson, but I can't wait to see what Howie Roseman does, and I'm only more fired up after that trade that just happened. Philly has now, I think, 4 picks in the top 36. Or I'm sorry, in the top 66 rather. So that is not something that you have happen every day. I'm very excited to see, hopefully they come out with a difference maker tonight. If it is a corner like Gonzalez or Witherspoon, I won't be disappointed, but I'm too fired up now. Go and get us a difference maker. Go and get us a guy that's going to be, impact in 2023. And I'm looking forward to seeing where my guy, Anthony Richardson goes. And congratulations, it seems, to my guy, Bryce Young, on being the new quarterback of the Carolina Panthers.
Carson.
Biggest draft in Lions history. We're here to take the division. The crybaby Aaron Rodgers has left the NFC North. You don't have to deal with him throwing Hail Marys at Ford Field, ruining my childhood. It is over, boys.
Richard Rodgers.
The freaking Rodgers. The Lions, biggest draft night of their lives. Brad Holmes, you're going to watch him cook and work his magic, and the Lions are going to win the NFC North. You got to make that bet right now. The city, the buzz in the air. I've been alive almost 24 years, and I have never seen a Lions team with more passion, fight, grit, determination, a front office that actually gives a damn. It's our time. It's the Lions' time. We're going to have our first home playoff game in Ford Field history this year. It's going to be electric. Go Lions.
Before I get to Paul, how could this not be the opening Sunday night game this year? In Denver, Rodgers and Hackett. Hackett returns to Denver, Sean Payton. So it's Hackett and Rodgers, Payton and Rod. How could you not be opening night?
Oh, man.
Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting night for a Giants fan. The unusual, the fact that we're going to be drafting so low as opposed to in the top 10 is a nice change for a change. Generally we know the first player or two, generally a quarterback goes number 1 or 2. This draft is unique because we don't know where many of the players are going at this point. So it's going to be exciting. We're all looking forward to it, and I'm psyched. I'm looking forward to this draft.
And Kenny, take us away.
Like everybody said, obviously looking forward to it. I did a mock draft at work the other day on my dinner break. I was messing around with Carson's Lions, and it was Will Anderson and Joey Porter. Can you imagine those two studs on Carson's defense?
Yeah.
This year? It's scary. It's a scary thought.
Be amazing.
Carson's going to be happy for years to come. I think he's going to have a nice draft. I think Ryan's going to be happy with his outcome. I think we're going to be happy, Paul. I think.
I
Kurt,
hope.
I think for what you guys got, I think you'll be happy in day 2 and day 3. My favorite draft is tomorrow when you see the old players come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love day
Yeah.
2.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh man, I haven't
A lot of
seen him in
studs in day
ages.
2 too.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
lot,
yeah.
a lot of sleepers in day
Yeah.
2. Day 2 is a fun day, but tonight we'll have fun with each other through the chat. Let's have a fun night. Curious to see who slips and who jumps up the boards, because there'll be some surprises, boys.
And I'm going to be happy 1:00 on Sunday. Knicks Heat. Let's go, baby.
There you
Yep.
go. Let's go, Knicks.
I agree.
All right, boys. Everyone enjoy
All right.
the draft.
Enjoy the
Yep.
draft.